Jamie Carragher did not hold any prisoners after the game. He said on CBS Sports, "I'm not watching a top team. Liverpool aren't playing football at the moment. They are playing basketball. It is just end to end, and I don't think top teams play like that. And they haven't gained anything going forward, but they have lost a lot defensively. I think for the manager now, last season was such a smooth ride for them. He's now got to really earn his money. This defeat has been coming. This is not a shock, and the manager needs to fix it."
I think that's fair.
Can I just be completely honest?
Go for it.
Yeah.
I think he's going way too far. I think those comments, I think it's crazy to say. They started the season very well. Cool, they're winning games late. Cool, there's gaps. Cool, there's new signings they need to integrate. Verts, there's big questions of. But they've just, what did they win? Their first 7 games and they've lost 2.
Yeah.
It's still a very good start to the season. Okay, there's concerns. Palace, there was concerns. They still could have won that game, by the way. When they came back into it in the second half, their chances to go and win, they ended up losing in the 95th minute, 96th. And yesterday was concerning, but Galatasaray, the atmosphere at that stadium, I don't know if you watched or heard the game. Every time Liverpool had the ball, you can hear the atmosphere. The players getting on.
They are notorious for that.
100%.
Like, you know, when you go to Turkish grounds in particular, I think the concern is just the performance. Like, if you have a look at those results they were getting with the last minute winners, that can only last for so long. And you're actually evaluating and looking at the team performance. Have they got any better over the last six games in the Premier League, the 2 games in the Champions League? So I think that's where the concern is. It is harsh, but I think that where you want to see a Liverpool side from a Carragher perspective that is obviously dominant and can build on this season, and on top of it, they've spent a lot of money. It's not kind of like last season where I guess they were kind of underdogs in it because they hadn't spent any money. They'd only bought in Chiesa. So that there was no real pressure on them having Arne Slot coming in as his first season. But this season, you're looking to kick on, to build. You've spent your 2 years' worth of transfers in this window. I think it's unfair in the sense that, you know, we do have very high standards when a new player comes to the Premier League. Someone in a Florian Wirtz. I'm not here to necessarily defend him, but it can take time for many a reason for a player to gel into a new squad, into a new system, into a new country. And if you look at Ekitike, he was absolutely great, hit the ground running. Isak, no problem. I just think that it's the bar that Liverpool have set in terms of the performance of last season, it's hard to live up to in a way. And if you don't have a game where you are 10 out of 10 and you're dominant and it's the Liverpool Football Club that we all know, the style of play, then obviously you are going to get criticism. We're very critical when Arsenal are not at their best, or when Manchester City haven't been at their best. So I still think even though they were getting good result, like they were getting the result, the performances weren't there.
100%.
And I think that's what Jamie Carragher and Liverpool fans will be frustrated with.
I agree, and I've been saying this as well. Obviously the performances haven't been there, but they've had the results. I just think it's what he said, they're not a top team, is ridiculous.
I think he means in the level of performance. I think that's what he means.
Arsenal came to Anfield. All right, Arsenal didn't set up right. Liverpool were there for the taking. They beat us. A moment of quality. They didn't concede against us, right? And they beat us. They probably deserved on the run of it to win that day. Do you know what I mean? Liverpool on their day can beat anyone. Cool.
Of course.
They've added, this is the thing as well, when you spend a lot of money and you add all these players and you take Trent out, who I believe was the best right back in the league. Robertson, obviously his career's coming to an end. You put a new left back in there, a new midfielder, you shoehorn Wirtz into this team, a 2 new strike. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to take a while to gel. I actually think with all the changes they made, it's been a very good start to the season. Cool, like I said, there's concerns. I just think these comments now, like that from Jamie Carragher, it's over the top. It's way over the top.
I think Carragher simultaneously made a very good point and also made a really useless one. And he says that Liverpool haven't gained anything going forward. And you go, well, they have. You've got 2 new strikers. You've got someone like Wirtz who, in theory, can make it back to the top. Like, the reason they paid for him is because everyone thinks that hopefully, at least Liverpool think that hopefully he'll become a good attacking midfielder. You've got your forward reinforcements, but I do think he's also right when he said that they've lost a lot defensively.
They have lost a lot defensively.
Also, and the more I've been thinking about it, obviously Trent Alexander-Arnold was memed for his entire time at Liverpool for being pretty whack at the back, but he was so good with the ball at his feet that I think at times it calmed Liverpool's defence and allowed Liverpool's defence to play like they've been doing before, because Liverpool always had the ball. He retained possession for them so often and got them going forwards all the time.
Well, that's what I was going to add to it. Also, you've lost the ability of someone like Trent, who is so exceptional on the ball in the build-up play and picking the right pass, because that is effectively what he was doing from a fullback position as well.
Yeah.
I do think that it is an oversight, and we are going to keep being repetitive over the course of the season, I'm sure, especially until January if they get Mark Gahey or someone else. But defensively, I think Konate didn't have the greatest game last night either. And when you do look at that, if they do get an injury, then they are in deep water, because they haven't gone and done the reinforcements they actually needed to also do at centre half. So that for me will be a problem as the season goes on and fatigue sets in and there's injuries. You never know what can happen. But at the same time, you are looking at 2 new fullbacks coming into that side. You've got a lot of new players. And when any time you have new players, it does take time to gel. That squad under Arne Slot last season was untouched from the Jurgen Klopp season before that. So they had a lot more synchronicity with each other. This time, you're also figuring out how people work. 2 new fullbacks either side. You've got new members, not so much, I guess, in midfield, because you've got Gravenberch and you've got McAllister there. You want to figure out also how to play with a 10, which they haven't done since Coutinho. And you've got a new forward line. Salah also hasn't been at Salah's best this season so far. But that can all change. It can take a while to click in. We are only 6 games domestically into the season. It does take time. And we said yesterday, no team for me has been particularly good. No team has been a standout where I look at them and go, okay, absolutely, they are dominant in this. We were looking at Liverpool, looking at them and get results last minute, but they weren't. I think what he's trying to say is they're not dominant performances.
But I'd understand that. I'd understand if he said, I'm really concerned. I'd understand if he said, I don't think this Liverpool team is going to win the league.
Yeah.
But to say they're not a top team is crazy. Do you talk about Salah as well? Salah's missing Trent. So how often did we see last season they win the ball back? Trent first time pings it to Salah's feet and they're in. Do you know what I mean? They've got a chance. We're not seeing that anymore.
Of course, there's no Diogo Jota anymore as well.
Jota, 100%.
And the effect that might have also had on the mentality of the squad. You don't know the depth of that. Of course, it touched everyone in the whole footballing community, but you don't know the depth that would have had on individuals as well within that squad.
100%. And you talk about the defence as well. Van Dijk now a year older. Don't get me wrong, he's been world class for such a long time. But at some point, it's going to catch up with you. You're going to decline at some point. I think he's been decent. I think he's been good. He hasn't quite been at his levels this season, but Konate hasn't helped him alongside him. Again, like you say about Konate, you don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes I'm like, whoa, this centre-back partnership is incredible. Sometimes I watch Konate, I'm like, did he sleep last night?
Well, he was against against
Palace.
You mentioned the Liverpool-Arsenal game. I thought Konate was great against Arsenal. And admittedly, Arsenal, I do as well. I mean, we've been over this a million times. Arteta set up that game wrong. There was more that Arteta could have done to maybe grab the win for Arsenal, grab a draw for Arsenal. But I'm surprised because I remember doing the deadline day stream here on DR Sports, and Alex was with me, AGT was with me. And when the Gay thing didn't go through in the end, he basically said it would have been good, but it's okay. We do kind of still have 4 centre backs. And then you look back now a month later, it was actually a month ago today that the transfer window closed, and you go, damn, that Mark Gay transfer could have made a massive difference to Liverpool right now. Because it'd be, even if the game isn't going well and Konate's not having a great game, you can take him off, it's fine. But now Joe Gomez is their only centre-back depth, because Leone's going to be out for around about a year with an ACL injury.
Any other option is
there's no other option for them. And then, so I think there is a lot for Slot to sort out. And I think we all knew this. There was going to be a lot for him to sort out. But I think as well, like the unexpected dips in form at points from some players that he would have relied on have just added to it. And obviously back-to-back losses where
Alisson now.
That's true as well. Alisson's also injured.
In the game.
And Liverpool got rid of Kelleher, who was a fantastic goalkeeper, but he's a first-choice Premier League goalkeeper. I think so.
Of course,
which is why obviously he went to Brentford, but
I'd have had him.
They've lost him, so they now who's their backup goalkeeper now?
Mamadashvili,
So that's another thing that Slot's going to have to contend with and kind of work out, okay, how are we going to figure this out?
It's kind of like the transitional season that arguably you would have had last season is actually this season, is what it might look like.
Yeah.
Because obviously they've got so many new players that are there. But I still don't think that it's very early on. The season has so many twists and turns, We've seen, for example, in years gone by, Manchester City be 10 points behind at Christmas and go on and win the league. We're talking about Liverpool that's lost 2 games, but because it's so uncharacteristic of them, that's why
in the last 18 months.
That's why there's so much talk about it. But it's not something that I'd be very surprised if it became something of the norm.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't got the easiest run in the world, but obviously they have the players to deal with it. Bar the centre-backs, they do have the players to deal with Premier League and Champions League and the Carabao Cup over the next few weeks.
I think it just shows you how important having a settled unit is. They asked Salah, I think it was at the PFA Awards. Was it Cecil, I think, asked him, about
Yes.
who thinks is going to win the league, and he said he thinks Arsenal because I had that
Yeah.
settled
But it's a fair point.
unit there. Exactly.
Well,
But
that's what
no
Liverpool had
fans and when they're analysing football, no one really talks about that. Everyone goes, oh, well, they've got the best striker. You have to think about, have they had time to play together? Do they know the system? Or, a new player is going to come in and disrupt the dressing room, or they're going to have to play to a new striker, or they're going to have to integrate. Like we said, Trent was such a big part of that team. How they played, it went through him so much. Taking him out and bringing in Frimpong, who is more of an up and down. Do you know what I mean? He's in front of Salah at times when that's just not what Trent was. It's just such a different system, and it's going to take time. I said before the season, I thought they would come. This was before the transfer window. I said I thought they'd come fourth. When they signed Isak, I know it sounds crazy. When they signed Isak, and this is when Konate looked like he was going to go as well. I pushed them up to second. I thought after the transfer window, I still put Arsenal first. I put Liverpool second. And then they started the season so well. I was like, fourth is crazy. I still think Arsenal have the squad to go and do it, but I think it's going to be between Arsenal and Liverpool. And now, if you're looking at the holes that are now starting to appear, like you say, Jamie Carragher's quotes, it's looking tricky for Liverpool.
It's looking tricky, but at the
against
same
Chelsea.
time, as Abby says, they can also just pull it out of the bag and they suddenly click,
Of course
and
they
you
can.
go, okay, they're
Like
scoring 40 goals in 10
Like I
games.
said, it's an overreaction because we're not used to seeing Liverpool losing. That's why you see someone like AGT absolutely not know how to handle it because he's not used to it.
Yeah, there's obviously Liverpool's game wasn't the only game we had.